What's up, all my sweet folks out there? This is just a heads up, a warning, an announcement. That Sweet the podcast will be going live, and that'll be starting next month, May, baby, May. Early next month too, sooner than you may think. So I want you to get a heads up. Follow Sweet the podcast on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, so you can stay up to date when these things will be going live. And I will announce on we'll post a link rather on those social sites for the YouTube page as well. If you want to listen to that, Sweet will also still be recorded audio wise, just to be posted on the podcast as well, because it is a podcast. So I just wanted to give that announcement to you guys, and thank you for being so patient with me when getting this process. A lot's been going on, as you all know, the world knows. So I just can't wait for us to all be able to interact better, and then you can voice your hate or disdain or love and support for me to my face. Well, virtual anyway. So thanks.
Flavor profile of this team.
Sweet.
What's up, and welcome back to Sweet the podcast. It's your boy, your host, your sweet boy, Will the Third, and we're here on episode 19, baby. And this is motherfucking about stimulus, the economy, and 5G, the Killgrid. I've been wanting to do a show on 5G for the longest, but now I'm giving you the facts of what 5G is and the things that it's not. We're talking about the stimulus that most people got and a lot of people didn't get. And the new stimulus plan that they're possibly peddling amongst Congress members. So we're going to talk about all of the things, and also the one that's really just irking the fuck out of me is Trump plan to reopen the country. So we're going to talk about that and how he's giving the powers and the governors to be able to open it. We're going to get into all of this, and all of it is for the economy, which is a piece of shit. So, without me continuing to ramble on, let's go, baby. There's a rocket in my pocket and a stimulus a knocking. You know, while y'all was too busy running y'all mouth, I was busy running to the bank, depositing a Trump check. Donald Trump. Okay? Oh, them stimulus have been sent out to some, and to others it has not. Okay, I don't know. Everybody in America, and if you're not in America, let's just break it down. Congress and the president signed off on a stimulus package. It was a $2.2 trillion package that gave pretty much all Americans. There were certain restrictions. The first and foremost, if you made over $75,000, of that $1,200, each person gets $1,200. Okay, if you have a kid, you get an extra $5 per each child. If you make under $75,000 a year. If you do happen to make over $75,000 a year, you did not get $1,200. Every, I think, $100 over 75,000 you were deducted $5 from that $1,200 stimulus, not including those kids that you may or may not have. That was the stimulus that was sent to most Americans. If you were a college kid that was a dependent, your parents claiming you, and you're getting funding from FAFSA or whatever and all that, you didn't get it. Apparently, people who owed money for back child support, tax, court, whatever, apparently, this is allegedly, I have not really got into the root of that is true, have not received theirs. People who owe lien, garnishment of wages. Because it was taken apparently, and also people who didn't, and they said now it was a lot of people saying that if you did TurboTax or H&R Block, you may not have got it because of your bitch. I did H&R. I've been filing with H&R Block since I was 18 years old. The only company I ever filed with, and I got my stimulus. Okay, so let's keep this stimulus thing going. And Now, apparently, there was some underlying little thing where millionaires got $1.7 million of stimulus of their own that wasn't made known to the general public. Sorry, I'm looking around and there's a lot going on here because I'm doing so much and so many things at once. My thing is, the stimulus package, long story short, was not enough. It was not enough. It was not enough for the American citizens. Fuck the corporations. Fuck the corporations. The reason why I say fuck the corporations because number one, they should have the funds and the coinage to be able to sustain and live outside of. We've only been in this shit for not even 2 months, and they're already going bankrupt. They have no coins. The airlines, we're 2-3 weeks in. The bitches, oh, we need to be bailed out because we have no money. Oh. So yes, if you hear that noise in the back, I don't know if you can or not. That's the washing machine in the washing room. So yeah, it should stop shortly. But look, that's what that is. And banks, airlines, and big corporations are the first seeking government assistance and handouts. So I'm sick of them talking down and everybody else, people who ain't no big corporation, people who ain't millionaires, people who ain't thousandaires, talking about people getting government assistance and needing unemployment, food stamps, etc., housing assistance, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But you raggedy son of a bitches because you doing well or you make over 75,000, you make over $100,000 a year or whatever. It shouldn't be looking on other people because the way that stigmatisms and socioeconomic and marginalization and all of these things equate for a reason why a lot of people of color and black people specifically need some sort of government assistance because the system is not rigged or helped or built to sustain or help us to move forward. Message. Now, apparently there is, in the works, Democrats in the Senate are proposing a new fucking stimulus. I'm going to get that information to you 1 second. It's called the Emergency Money Act, and this bill will provide $2,000 a month for a guaranteed 6 months or until unemployment returns to pre-COVID-19 levels for anyone over the age of 16 that makes less than $130,000 annually. So they've raised the cap of the amount of money you can make annually to qualify for this Emergency Money Act. Again, this has not left the Senate floor. It's not been passed to the House. It's not been passed through Congress, and it is just it's been drafted, but they barely wanted to give us those $1,200. And you think I mean, this should have been the first stimulus, the $2,000 a month for get guaranteed 6 months or until the unemployment levels return to pre-COVID-19 levels. But hey, what can I say? Now, I do understand that America is larger than a lot of these other countries that are getting stimulus. Canada, blue, blue, boo, boo. We have more people. We have all that. I get that, but we are supposed to be the richest country, so we should be able to afford and supply for our people since we're so big and the wealthiest country in the fucking world. Message. So I hope this Emergency Money Act, where we get $2,000 a month, goes through, and I will be blessed and highly favored. Just know that I'll be blessed and highly favored. It could. Okay, I won't go that far. But yes, I think that's and what we will see. Now, since we're on some money and them giving us free money, you know why? And the economy. Let's talk about the economy. And I want to go straight to Trump's plan to reopen America. It's a 3-phase process. Trump recommends that the states must meet the following criteria. And the first criteria is, number 1, a downward trajectory of influenza-like illnesses and COVID-19 syndromic cases reported within a 14-day period. 2, a downward trajectory of documented cases or positive tests as a percent of total tests within a 14-day period. And number 3, hospitals are treating patients without crisis care and have a robust testing program in place for at-risk healthcare workers, including emerging antibody tests. It says once states meet these criteria, Trump recommends that they begin the first stage of opening up America. And it's something like the first phase one, is when a state enters phase one according to the guidelines. Individuals should continue to social distance when in public, and social settings of more than 10 people should be avoided, but it's not prohibited. Individuals should minimize non-essential travel and follow the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention guidelines regarding self-isolation. See, you're contradicting yourself, because if you're telling me to follow the CDC, who's telling you motherfuckers not to open this bitch, who's telling us to be, if we went by the CDC, they want us social or physical distancing until at least late summer, early fall. But y'all are saying reopen, and if jobs are going to open because capitalistic fucking CEO millionaires are going to push their workers to come back to work, and they want the money, they want America running and engineing that going again, so they're going to say, oh, fuck that, you bitches will go to work. If you die, oh well, we will replace you, bitch, because there's another person at the bottom of the barrel or struggling or falling on hard times that's going to need a job, and we'll do it, and we'll just keep swapping you bitches out if you die. So message. That's phase one. Phase two. Vulnerable individuals should continue to stay at home. Individuals should continue to social distance, but social settings of more than 50 should be avoided. Non-essential travel, blah, 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 blah. Employers should continue to encourage their employees to work remotely, should keep common areas closed, and should continue to consider special accommodations for vulnerable pollution. In phase two, schools, daycares, and camps can reopen, and bars can reopen with due standing room occupancy. Child, let me read the last phase now. Vulnerable individuals no longer have to stay at home, but should practice social distancing and minimize their exposure to social settings where distance may not be practical. Low-risk populations should minimize their time spent in crowded environments. Employers can allow their workers to return to work in phase three. Oh, Lord, my God, today. And my state is one of the top states. Us, Georgia, New York, Texas, Louisiana, California, Washington. That looks like Michigan up there. North Dakota. Damn. So I totally disagree with this. Like, they opened the beaches in Jacksonville. Within an hour of them opening that motherfucker, the bitch was packed. And I said, if any of them motherfuckers come down with the Rona, I don't want to see none of them bitches on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok praying. I just wanted some freak. Suck a dick, eat a dick. Just between you and the Lord. Ain't got time for that. Because it makes no fucking sense to me. I mean, if they can open this motherfucking country, America can reopen. But I'm going to stay closed for an extra month just to see how y'all react to it. And see that y'all be the test dummies, the guinea pigs. And you know, when I see, it's like the survival of the fittest. Like when them kids was eating Tide Pods. You know, hey, let them eat them. If that's what they want to do, eat them. These people are grown. Fuck that. Let them. But see, my problem is when it comes to the jobs, when they reopen the country, because people will be forced to go back to work. If they don't come back to work, they would be probably subject to firing. Then unemployment is shot to shit. 22 million people just at the end of last week are unemployed in America, the highest since when the Great Recession right before Obama took office. So that's astronomical amount. So they're going to try to hurry up and get in it, and they're not getting the unemployment claims for weeks filed fast enough. So people are going through hell and not getting their money with that. It's like for example, I work at a job that I work in administration, and I could technically have been working from home. I presented this to my managers. There's only two managers above me in where I work, so I presented to like, hey, I should do blah blah blah. They let other people work from home. I think they're low key racist. I'm not gonna say that, but I have pre-existing health conditions that make it way for. I have pre-existing respiratory conditions, literally. So it's a dangerous environment for me. And if they try to reopen it up, they're going to try to. I already have issues with my job because the management is another level, but they would try to force me, and then that's going to be a whole thing. But I don't care what they try to force me to do. I won't be in any job to risk my life because fuck this economy. I technically, me myself, I've been saying this for years. Ask my friends. I said that the millennials, we will be the generation. We won't get the silver lining. We won't see the fruition of our suffering. I know that we won't see what the America should look like, or what we want and what we're fighting to see. America, the economy, all of this shit should fall. It needs to fall. I want all the systems, the rules, and people up in high places. If it needs to be a civil war, if we need to just rebel and just revolt, all of these things, the things need to happen. I mean, it really needs to happen, and it's gonna happen in a millennial generation, this generation that we are in. My fellow millennials, we will see it. The fall. I'm pretty sure we won't be around to see the rise. Or the new rise will be, obviously, New World Order. Top of the boom, bang bang the boom, 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 boom. It will be New World Order. They're already putting chips in people. They're already, even Nancy Pelosi and other countries are talking about trying to go to one world currency. I mean, they tried this back in a few years ago, but now they really didn't have a good viable reason for people to just want to change. But if the economy's gone to shit and everybody's just fucked, oh, hell. None of this shit matters anyway. Money is made up anyway. You see how they did all this complaining where they can't pay black people reparations, and they came up to the amount of it was like 22 maybe trillion dollars that they would have to pay black people. I'm so sorry for that noise. That was my headphone hitting the mic. But they see, you know how easy fake money is? You ain't never seen $2.2 trillion in a room. Nobody has, because it doesn't exist. You type it in. Doop, 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 doop. Okay, 2/2 dot 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 0 0 0 0 0 blah, 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 blah. There's your $2.2 trillion. They can do the same thing they could have done it for reparations. They could do it for healthcare. They could do it for forgiving student debts. They could have done it for forgetting medical bills. They could have done it for anything. America's fucked and it needs to fall. I'm standing by that, and we will see the fall. And that will make way and usher in New World Order, one world currency. Then they're gonna be trying to microchip every goddamn body. Like some employers and jobs and places are doing that already, and been doing that. They were doing that when I was in like high school. And like in Sweden, our friends used to read articles about things like that. And it may sound conspiracy, but it's not. But another thing that's been conspiracy related to COVID-19, coronavirus, the brethren and cousins of SARS and MRSA and H1N1. A lot of people, it's been running rampant. It's been almost as high in the headlines as COVID-19. And it's not Tiger King. And it's not that bitch Carol Baskins. It's 5 fucking G. 5G, you gon' kill these folks, sending all them waves like that. I say, why you, do you, boo, 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 boo. 5G, the Killgrid. 5G is pretty much a technology upgrade. It's like a digital matrix. A transhumanism hell. Sending out electromagnetic signals that our bodies constantly will be absorbing. Now, I want to get to the 5G and the conspiracy around it probably killing us or whatever. But I want to get to a test, something that happened in Cuba in 2016. There were 44 American diplomats that were over there, like there were ambassadors, just diplomats in Cuba. This is after President Barack Obama reopened and made us be able to have passage back into Cuba, you know, because we were not allowed to go there for years, since like the 50s until like 2015, 14, 16, something around that time, maybe 14. But anywho, there are 44 American diplomats there. Now, see, I see 44, but there are other reports. One thing that I read, it said 44, but let's just say 21 that's the only amount. That's the only amount of people I could really confirm. 21 American diplomats. I'm sorry for saying 44, but they were in Cuba, stationed over there in the embassy or whatever. All of a sudden, some of them started having like cognitive fog. They couldn't remember things, and some of them were like, I felt like I heard this high pitch, ringing in my ear, and then some of them got like nauseous, and some vomited, some passed out and fall. And you're probably like, what the hell is he talking about? What does this have to do? But I'm gonna tell you, because after that they had all these things. They went and got tested. They had got MRIs. And you know how you can't test stress? There's no really way to test if somebody's stressed. You can see the signs, you can see the what they're telling you, but you can't measure it. I mean, maybe there are certain chemicals that you can probably monitor if you're really getting in as a scientist and a doctor, but really there's no way to really diagnose stress or see it. So they were like, okay, maybe this is just anxiety, we're stressed or whatever. So they went and got these MRIs, and there was like, the results showed that their brains were affected by something, and something happened to these people. Okay. And this is a big thing. You can Google this. And you're like, what? Well, okay, well, what was it? Well, they didn't know what it was. And to this day, some think it was some kind of sonic blast or sonic energy wave that went through, and that Cuba did this to the American diplomats because they didn't want them there. They're like, it was some kind of energy force that can't really be seen. And some people said they heard sounds, some say they didn't. So they tried to test. They grilled and questioned Cuba, the FBI, and all this. And there was a doctor. He said that his colleagues do not think audible sound caused the injuries, as sound in an audible range does not damage the brain. Perhaps they speculate a device that produced another sort of harmful energy also produced an audible sound. Some low frequency infrared sound, some high frequency ultrasound, and microwave have all been shown to damage the brain. Okay? All these things. Now, what am I getting at? They still, and if you want to know, they still don't know what caused that. Cuba claims up and down they have no idea what happened. They had nothing to do with that. They said they would never go start beef with America like that. So, hey, it's still unknown to the general public, perhaps. But it hasn't been released. If they found anything today in 2020, I haven't seen it because I just researched this and I didn't see any results to say. They still really didn't know. Now, EMF is what we get from our phones. This iPhone 11, these whatever you got, and Galaxy S10 Plus, the A10s, whatever. EMF is what we get from our phones. Now, researchers, developers, scientists, whoever that big telecom has paid off to do these researches and studies and tell us that this shit isn't harming us, they say that there aren't a large enough amount of EMF waves to affect us. And you know, like I just said, big telecom and big pharma hired these scientists and all this to lie to us. I'm pretty sure this shit has an effect on us. Now, you can prove or disprove anything at this point. That's why that's for someone that has more time to really dig into and research and has like know what the fuck you're looking for in the human body and what those waves are doing to us. Now I want to go to start off. We're from the first generation. That's 1G, just the first generation. Wireless signals on a big network. Those are the big brick phones, the Zach Moores from Saved by the Bell phones. That's how I always reference those phones. It was in the 80s, it hit the U.S. in the 80s for the first generation, those big cell phones, but they were developed in Japan, Denmark, Norway, and Finland in the late 70s. So America was kind of late to the curve on the cell phones, boo. Now, second generation, that's when we go from that analog sound with the big phones and all that shit to digital binary signals, bits and zeros and ones, pretty much. Now, that's a quicker way of transferring data than that analog shit. Than that this new digital second generation platform, the 2G, gave us the capability of text messaging all into the 90s. The GSM network, 50K bits per second. That's 50 kilobits per second. 2G. It upgraded and enhanced numerous times. Blah da boo da boo da boo. And even the Edge network, if y'all old enough like me, I'm 32. So if you remember the Edge network, you know that was 2G. So 2G, I remember Edge. I had to be like 18 when the second generation was out. So we were on the first generation for a long fucking time. So anyway, early 2000s, next step is 3G. 3G, all the way up to about 2008. Now, the 3G really revolutionized the world. And the best example to give you how 3G revolutionized the world, the iPhone 3G. The iPhone 3G used this network better than any other phone. Period. Because it utilized applications. The Apple App Store was introduced, bitch. Wasn't until 3G where you could handle and have all that processing of this much data. You couldn't stream video until the iPhone 3G. You couldn't do none of that shit. There were no apps, bitch. Apple created that. They were the first. Now, the 3G is 2 million bips per second. That's 2 megabits. And they kept taking and making adjustments. When we first hit 3G, we were at 2 million bips per second. Okay. Now remember, we started off at 2G to 50,000. So 50 kilobits. Now we're at 2 megabits, which is 2 million bips. They kept taking us all the way up. And you see, we're not going like in a linear height when they take us up by megabits and all this thing. They go like astronomically higher. We went from 2 million to 42 million in the 3G network. 42 million bips per second was the highest the 3G network obtained. 4G. 4G is the one most people are most familiar with. Allows mobile Skype, FaceTime, streaming music pretty seamlessly. All of these things. They tried to tweak it and hit certain levels, but they couldn't quite do it. So that's when LTE came into play. LTE is often advertised as 4G, but it actually is not, baby. The actual increase from 3G to real 4G never actually happened. There was supposed to be a exponential increase from when we went from, say, to 2G to 3G. LTE is more of like a 3G plus. When you have a newer phone and slip into a 3G network, that's why your phone always goes to a glacial pace and it's fucking slow as shit. You ain't downloading shit. Facebook ain't loading. Twitter ain't doing shit. And you ain't finna see no photos or videos on Instagram. Because the shit, when you slip into a 3G network, your shit is going like a goddamn snail that got salt sprinkled all over his little body. So yeah, you won't be able to get those dick pics either, or they won't be sending those high-res, high quality, blah, 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 blah shit. Now, 5G. 5G is literally, so literally, not just saying this, but 5G is literally going to be a revolutionary leap into network speeds. An actual increase like we were supposed to get when we went from 3G to 4G is going to be a jump in technology we really can't even fucking fathom. 5G will be a shift in technology to a higher frequency range. Now, there's a thing called the radio spectrum. It's divided into various sections called bands from 30 hertz to 300 gigahertz. A hertz is measure of the frequencies of a wavelength. Now, the microwave band is a section of the radio spectrum. That section runs from 300 megahertz to the max 300 gigahertz. Now, once above 300 gigahertz, you hit the visual light spectrum. It's no longer really like waves and shit you can't see. It's literally some shit we would be able to see. 5G is designed to use these higher frequencies. EHF, extremely high frequency, smaller wavelengths, faster alternating waves, transmitting data faster. You can transfer the digital bips faster. Those 42 megabips I was telling you about and all that, the 5G can transfer this shit faster. Now, there is a drawback. Since these shorter wavelengths are so fragile and can't penetrate through thick surfaces like trees and walls and etc., there's two types of 5G. A faster, yet fragile, like I was just saying, it can't go through those trees and walls and thick surfaces, which have that true 5G speed, which is 20 to 30 gigabits. True 5G speeds, getting the full potential and full fast power of 5G is 20 to 30 gigabits. Now, 2G was 2,000 bips per second. 3G was 2 million bips per second, and it maxed out to 42 million bips per second. Now, the fake 4G or 4G LTE was 150 million bips per second, or 150 megabits. Now, 5G at the slowest will be 1,000 megabits, and up to 20,000 megabits. New devices will need antennas to handle both the 5G systems, whether on lower yet the more reliable speed, or that higher, true, more fragile 5G. Depending on where you are, if there are trees in the way, and what in the way of you and the cell, you'll have to switch over to the slower one, still way faster. Now, cells, what is cells? What the hell is a cell? I'm going to tell you what the cells are. The cells, 5G will require a completely new infrastructure to be built. New towers, repeater boxes, and the infrastructure will work on direct line of sight, meaning the device will need to be in direct line of sight of the repeater or the tower or the cell. That means hundreds of thousands of new 5G towers will need to be built. That's the only way. That's why you only see 5G being rolled out in certain cities, because they have to rebuild the entire infrastructure. And that has never been done before. They just usually make updates and enhancements, like when they went from 2G to 3G, from 3G to fake 4G to LTE to now. When we come into 5G, they have to redo everything completely. It's like, and the best way I've seen from all the research I see of how to completely accurately describe 5G is it's like throwing a bullet instead of shooting it out of a gun. That's the difference. We were literally throwing a bullet on 1G, 2G, 3G. We got a bullet, but we were just throwing it. 4G, fake 4G, LTE. We got a bullet, we just throwing it. But with 5G, oh bitch, we shooting it. Boom. We're shooting it. This new 5G system will take us into the Internet of Things. All devices will be hooked into the 5G network. And let me give you a good example of how 5G can work. Say you call in an Uber, now you got to go on your phone. Ooh, I need to go to the store. I'm going to go to my man house. Let me order me an Uber, boom. See, you have to do all this on your phone. In 5G, true 5G, you won't need your phone. All you would have to do is be in your house and say, I need an Uber. A Uber will come. A Uber will pull up. You don't have no phone now. You're just literally saying this out loud, and you're like, I need a Uber. A Uber will come. Cameras are all around the cells and all the technology there. And when the Uber comes, it's gonna pull up, have camera on, say the side of the car, passenger side or whatever. It's gonna see your face. It's gonna see you. It's gonna know who you are. It's gonna have the access to your accounts. It's gonna pull the money automatically out. You can say where you want to go. There's be really no physical contact. And this is another way. This coronavirus is another way for us to really try to usher in that 5G. Now you could literally have the virtual this more autonomous cars, remote surgery with robotic hands, avatars of human beings. You know that avatar is going into immersive, realistic environments, like going on vacation somewhere and never leaving your house, like the shit they used to do on American Dad. Big Telecom is stating through media and propaganda that 5G is going to unlock speeds and revolutionize the planet, and that is true. But on the other side of that, 5G could in fact be a weapon to be in fact used against us, just like they're doing it in China. They've been having 5G over there. That's why they got facial recognition on every motherfucking body. 5G will be the collective global conscious, also helping tie into the new world order and one world currency, the global currency. And that brings me back to the cognitive fog that relates back to the incident in Havana, Cuba with the 21 American diplomat. It has an effect on us, clouding our mental capacities, making us slower and dumber. An effect you can't really perceive the same way you really can't measure stress. It's like we get all this technology, these waves pumping into our head. Do you ever just sit like, oh, damn, what was I finna do? Oh, wait, what was this? Oh, shit, what was I finna say? Oh, what channel was that? These things, the things. See, they can't really measure that. See what I'm saying? Now, there will be cells on every other house. These cells, like I said, that will have to have direct line of sight to your device or to whatever, the appliance or whatever. And Big Telecom argues that it will be better because although there will be tracking on phone, so the beams from cells can directly connect with phone instead of 4G, which is as its energy and beams just shooting out all over the place. When you're in 4G and LTE, it's just like, here's a tower, we're sending this energy out into this certain amount of radius of area, and if you're in that area, you get the signal. If you're not, bitch, you don't. 5G is more. It's not just sending this shit out everywhere, and if you're in it, you get it. This shit is directly sending it to your device, her device, his device, they device, my device, B device, and B device. So think when you're holding your dumbass phone up to your dumbass head, and the cells right outside your house will be blasting your head with all those high-powered millimeter waves. Shit is crazy. Now, by now, I know you've seen the articles on Facebook or alternative health websites. The gist of those articles are saying that 5G is a dangerous escalation of traditional cellular technology, one packed with higher energy radiation that delivers potential damaging effects on human beings. Some 5G conspiracy theorists contend that the new network generates radio frequency radiation that can damage DNA and lead to cancer. It can cause oxidative damage that can cause premature aging, disrupt cell metabolism, and potentially lead to other diseases through the generation of stress proteins. Some articles cite research, studies, and opinions by reputable organizations like the World Health Organization. By now, you may have seen, like the World Health Organization, that's not the case. It's not really going to have any cellular or radiation effect on you. It's not radiation. These are waves. Yeah, those waves. I really believe that they're giving us cognitive fog, probably enhancing stress in certain. I do kind of believe that, but I think our old cell phones were doing that. 5G may pump it up a little, make those. Like I said, if you got that shit up to your phone and that 5G cell outside your house is firing those millimeter waves into your damn head. I mean, hey, what can I say? But in the end, my thing is, if it comes, I just know how the plan of the world is predestined or whatever. 5G was happening. It's been happening in the world. It's going to come. People burning the towers is really not going to do shit because they're going to do it anyway. But they did stop the production and the construction of those towers. I think that was in Brazil or something, or somewhere. I don't remember. But hey, it's gonna happen. I mean, it is scary and weird and Big Brother to the 10th Eagle Eye max power. But hey, I just want the economy to fall, and then we can and then get a Mad Max apocalyptic post COVID-19 era we live in, and we are right to the moon. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I agree with 5G. I agree that it is a concern, and I agree that it will be a great help in a lot of ways. But every great leap in technology is always a leap for the enemy as well. The best way to see it, like, it's always going to be a bad side to this shit. Yeah, like the food and sugar and sweets and salts. That shit was good early when it was given to us in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s. And then when the 2000s said, oh, y'all shouldn't have been eating that because it's killing you. Oh, you shouldn't be drinking milk from a cow. Okay. Like I said, this shit changes. Health changes. These people don't really know. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing, literally. Scientists, presidents, I mean, they know their study, they feel, but in the end, they have no fucking clue. So you better pray, and you better know who you and your creator are. Okay? Stay safe, and do what you want with your stimulus. Because you know what? Pay bills, but also if you can invest in stock, spend a little money on stock right now, because I did that. I think you should all do it. Put a little money in stock, or a little Bitcoin. You ain't got to be a lot. You can put 10, 20 to 100, 10,000, 1,000, whatever the fuck you want to do with it. Start off with something, and hey, still your money's still there. Unless the stock's horribly crash. If you see it start to crash, then take it out. But while you can got some little money, a little stimulus money, if you can spare it, drop a few dollars in that thing. Pay your bills first, though, because, pay your bills. And that's it, y'all. I thank you so much for listening. And you know what I'm going to ask y'all to do? I'm going to need you to please follow us at Sweet the Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you just feel so inclined to want to follow me, you can follow me as well. On Instagram is will.the3rd, and Twitter will_the3rd. And rate, review, and subscribe if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, and if you're listening in Google, Spotify, all of the things in the podcasters land. Please do what you can to comment, surprise, share, tell somebody to listen. Do all those things for us, and we'll be back